welcome to the first of many workshops. My name is Joanne. I'm so happy to have you here. Now, this is the first time I've done this setup like this, so please forgive me. I have my iPad, my laptop, my phone, so I'm trying to, because I need to screen share, so I wasn't sure how else to do it. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so let me just start by, first of all, thanking you for joining me today. Thanking you if you're in the live. I know a few people are waiting for the replay, so thank you so much for reaching out and asking for the replay. And I really do hope that you learn a lot from this. And if anything, if you make one small change, that's why I'm here. So I really hope to inspire you today. My intention is to just inspire you to make a change and to improve your life in some way. So let's get started. I did say the podcast. I do have a podcast. I'm going to talk about that later. This is not a podcast. This is a workshop. I did say the workshop is going to be about an hour. So I will try and keep it within the hour. Maybe less. Let's see how we get on. It depends if there's any questions. But I have my notes so that I don't over talk and I don't overdo it. Just so you can absorb. Everyone will be sent the replay and everyone will also receive my free ebook that I'm going to go through as we're chatting today. So you can dissect that yourself, absorb the information and really start to make those changes. Okay, so it's going to be a nice gentle flow through the workshop today. Obviously, I'm going to share a little bit about myself. You may have never met me before. You may have just found the workshop on the event website. So, and then we'll get straight into the workshop. I'm going to be sharing about hormones and intuitive eating, how we bring those together to make some real changes. Now, I'm all about making lifelong changes and not just quick fixes. That is everything that I aspire to achieve for my clients, because that is the way that I try and guide myself. This is not just quick fix, summer body, let's lose a little bit of weight. This is let's get ready, let's support our bodies to work through our life cycle. Whatever decade that you're living in, being able to nourish your body, look after your body, and use your body in the way that it was created. Age is just a number. So if you're listening to this, my dream for you is to be 90 years old, being able to live exactly the same life as you're living now, if you want to. I'm guessing most of us won't be wanting to do some of the things we do now when we're 90, but if we want to, we can. So my background, I am an ex-school teacher. So I left school teaching 2 years ago now to do this, to support others. And what really sort of brought me on that path was my own struggles with my health, my well-being, my wealth. So I really suffered with anxiety. I really suffered with my weight, and not in the sense of weight gain. For me, it was not being able to gain weight. And I was called skinny. Everyone always used to ask me if I was okay. And no, I actually wasn't okay. I was struggling. And the last thing I wanted was people to be picking up on my weight. And I was undernourishing my body because I really felt like I wasn't worth it. And I know that works both ways. Some of us undernourish our bodies. We don't find our bodies worthy enough of eating nourishing food because we might have limiting beliefs. We might have anxiety. Some of us do the opposite. We fill our bodies with food and put weight on because the same. And we don't understand how we need to nourish our bodies. And because of that, it's then a vicious cycle of body pain, hormone problems. I've had it all, from my anxiety, not being able to put weight on. I couldn't eat because I was anxious, so I would feed my body crap. Because I was feeding my body crap, I couldn't be bothered to work out. I didn't really look after my body. And because I wasn't doing that, then it affected my mental health. And then, the icing on the cake of this was that my hormones were out of balance. I had heavy bleeding when I was bleeding, horrible pains, cramping that used to debilitate me, mood swings, really bad skin, all of the things. And I didn't actually realize that what I'm doing here is punishing myself. It took me a couple of years, and the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today, to start putting these into place so that I actually felt better in my own body. So that's just my story in a nutshell. And I created the program. I'm going to talk about that at the end, because we're not just here for that. But the program I've recently put together is the program that I wish I had, a group program that actually guided me through to stepping into a version of myself that felt healthy, that felt like I was supporting my body, that was happy in my body and my mind. Okay, so let me just open the workbook here. I'm just gonna flick down to my laptop. Let's see if my computer skills are gonna hold up here. Resume. There should be a workbook popping up on your screen right now. Yes, it worked. Here we go. So this is the workbook that you are going to receive. I'm not going to read this to you. You can do that, but I am going to use it just as a guide, and so I don't forget to share any information as well. If you're live, then drop me questions if you have any as we go. Otherwise, I'll just go through, and if you prefer to ask questions separately, of course, reach out to me by email. Now, let's begin. Let's get into the workbook. So, a little bit about me. I've just done that here. But again, just to reiterate, my approach is really to bring in holistic practices. It's not just, oh, this is a diet. Yes, we're talking about food and eating today, but it's not just, I'm not just going to talk about diets. I'm going to talk about how your food actually can support your hormones, and how our movement and the way that we live our life can support our hormones. And then how we eat will also support that. So it's the full holistic circle. It's movement, it's mindset, it's natural remedies, it's learning about your body. Let's just get in. Let's get in. You'll see when we get there. Okay, let's go. Page this one. So I am going to be talking about intuitive eating today. Again, you'll see the overview in the workbook when you get this. I popped all of my links in here for you too. Now, intuitive eating is a process. It's not a diet. It's anti-diet, if anything. It is, the way that I see it, is using your body's natural cues. Now, if we go back 100, 200, 1,000, 1 million years, we did not eat in the same way as we eat today. We did not feel the need to make sure that we have 3 set meals at certain times a day. Now, of course, eating is important. We need that for our energy. But what we do in this modern world is to, first of all, overindulge. How many of you just eat when you're bored? We go to the cupboard, we go to the fridge, we take out some food, we don't really need it. We're eating because we're at home, and we're eating because we're bored. The same as when, we might go out with friends and like, shall we get some food? I'm not really hungry, but we're going to go anyway, which isn't a bad thing. So intuitive eating isn't about stopping that, but it's about really tuning into your body and listening to your body and thinking, am I really hungry? And what does my body need right now? So if you're craving cake and you want to eat a piece of cake, do it. Allow yourself. When we take away the restrictions in intuitive eating, you find that those cravings actually do subside. And we're going back to hundreds, thousands, millions of years ago, when we would have eaten when we were hungry. We would have stopped when we were full. We wouldn't have spent all day snacking. We would have eaten food that we knew that was good for us, because that's all that we had. We didn't have all of this ultra processed food that then actually affects our hormones. We had meat, vegetables, plants, what the earth actually gives us. And again, not bringing in a diet here, not saying any kind of carnivore, vegan, vegetarian diet, just understanding and learning what your body needs and eating that food, and allowing yourself to eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and learning how to listen to your body's cues. Again, you can read a little bit more about that once I send the toolkit out to you. So there is a disclaimer in the toolkit. Of course, I am not a doctor. I am a coach, a women's wellness coach, or now a mentor. So the information that I give you is information that is holistic. It's not medical information. If you feel that your diet, the way that you eat, the way that you're living is a little bit deeper than what we go into today, of course, seek medical advice. The way that I live my life is I live holistically. I listen to my body. I avoid anything that isn't natural chemicals unless I feel like I need a visit to the doctor. Western medicine is there for a reason. It's amazing. But for me, science comes after holistic health. So again, I'm just here to talk holistically. If you feel like you need anything else, please consult a doctor. And of course, you can reach out to me again. I'm not a doctor, but I can advise you on, what I think as well. La la la. We're actually going to start with our cycles. Now I popped, not coming up. In the workbook, when you get the workbook, you will see there's going to be 3, here we go, there they are, 3 podcasts for you to listen to in your own time, all about our menstrual phases. I'm going to go into them now. Now, I feel like a lot of women are starting to learn a bit more about their phases. So we're going to go through them each. I'm going to share a little bit of food for each phase, or what to avoid, what to have, and a little bit about self-care as well, because we do need to look after our bodies in each phase very differently. So your menstrual phase is your winter. This is your bleed phase. We call it winter because I feel like it gives a nice analogy of how you feel. You feel like you want to hibernate. You feel like you want to be still. You don't really want to talk to anybody. It's not that time. It's not that time to go out and be social. Your energy is low. And your body's message here, now we're created to make babies. So we know we're not pregnant because we're bleeding. And what's actually happening is our body is detoxing. It's shedding the lining of our womb, releasing anything that we don't need. So your period, your bleed is a detox. It's letting go of all the things that we don't need within our womb space. Now, our body knows there's no pregnancy there. Our hormones are low. We see a dip in concentration levels. Everyone experiences different side effects here. And this is the part for you to be really kind to yourself. It's the time for you to listen to what your body needs and really nurture and nourish your body. Now, I popped a few things on here. Again, some of you watching this might be vegetarian, might be vegan, of course. You will find your iron from other places, leafy greens. If you're not a vegetarian, I actually stopped being a vegetarian at the beginning of this year and turned back to red meat, and I've seen a huge difference in how I feel, especially during my bleed. I'll have steak a couple of times a week, red meat a couple of times a week, just to really nourish me and bring my iron count up. Avoid alcohol, avoid caffeine. Now, again, I'm not talking diet here. If you do want to go out and have a drink when you're on your bleed, of course you can, but just be mindful of the sugar that you're taking in. That's going to spike you, and then when you do come down after your sugar high, then you're going to feel it because you're on your bleed, and it's going to take you longer to recover. The same with caffeine. Now, I do drink caffeine all the way through my cycle, but I just have one in the morning and I make it very milky. I know the caffeine is still there, but that just, if I need to skip one, I will. But again, this is not a diet. I'm not talking about diets. These are just suggestions. So if you do find that you're sluggish when you're on your bleed, of course, treating yourself to a little bit of caffeine is not going to hurt. The way that intuitive eating works and it lines up is that, it might be that I'm not going to have caffeine while I'm bleeding, so I'll take a couple of days off and then I'll continue throughout. Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing the fact that this is not a diet. This is not restriction. This is just, how does your body feel? Do you need that spike from the caffeine in your cortisol levels, or do you just want to stay mellow? Now, cycle syncing here, I'm just going to mention it. We're not going to go too much into movement here, but your energy levels will be low. So permission to stay still when you're on your bleed. Eat foods that are nourishing you. I put on here fatty fish, omega-3. Fatty fish, getting your omega-3 is going to make a huge difference to how much inflammation that we have in our bodies and how much we actually bloat coming up to our bleed. Omega-3 is also really good for brain health, so keeping our brain nice and healthy. I popped leafy greens on there, spinach, cabbage, seaweed, all of those things to really support you through your menstrual phase. So this is around day 1 to 5. Again, I'm just going to use averages here. The cycle is average 28 days to 30 days. Again, everyone is different. You might have your own average. If it's 26 and that's normal for you, that is normal for you. So let's move on to the next part of our phase. So once we've had our bleed, we come into our follicular phase, also known as spring. And just like spring, we feel a little bit more alive. We're ready to start blooming again. And the cycle starts all over again here. Our body starts getting ready for pregnancy. Whether you want it or not, that is what is going on. That's what our body naturally does. We're preparing to make a baby. Now, your energy will be a little bit higher here, and you might find that your cravings or your appetite subsides a little bit from your winter. That is normal. And this is where our intuitive eating comes in. So it might be that when you're on your bleed, when you're in your winter, that you have 3 meals a day and the big hearty meals a day, and you need some snacks. And then when you come into your spring, you might not even feel like one of those meals, or you might just have something small, and that's okay. This is where our intuitive side comes in. I'm going to go deeper once we get into the intuitive eating, but retraining ourselves to listen to our bodies so that actually maybe I don't need to eat as much. I'm not actually hungry. We're not starving ourselves. We're just listening to our bodies. You might be hungry in a couple of hours and have something small. What's actually going on inside here is our ovaries are preparing to release an egg. Our uterus lining is growing back. It's getting thicker, so that we have that energy because our hormones are lifting us up again. Our estrogen levels are rising, so we're like, woo, we're ready. We might feel ready to party, we're ready to create, ready to get out, maybe go out dancing. I'm currently in my follicular phase now, and I can really feel it, waking up with that spring in my step. What we want to do here food-wise is maybe opt for some raw vegetables. I always have a bag of carrots, the baby carrots in the fridge, and I do eat them throughout my cycle, but I find myself going to them more during spring. Again, intuitively, that, I'm feeling like I want to peck. I need to come into some pecky food. Now, if I had a cupboard full of carrots, not a cupboard full of carrots. If I had a cupboard full of biscuits, maybe I would go for the biscuits. But intuitively, I know those carrots are going to give me a little bit more. They're going to give me some vitamin C. And again, I'm not restricting myself. If I want to have a biscuit, I'll have a biscuit. But just knowing that, okay, I'm in my spring, there's these raw vegetables. I'll have carrots and cucumber to snack on. I had apple. I know fruit is raw anyway. I just had an apple. And because I had that little bit of a craving for something sweet, I just popped a bit of honey on it. So again, allowing yourself to have those things. Making sure, again, if you're vegetarian, you'll find your protein from elsewhere. But protein is so important, especially as we come into our 30s, 40s, 50s, when we're, through getting into perimenopause, when we get to perimenopause, when we're through menopause. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Pre-perimenopause, perimenopause, menopause, we need the protein, we need that iron, we need that meat. And I feel like that was what my body was telling me at the start of this year when I was craving red meat. My body was telling me that you need more of this. Your body is changing. So I'm not quite haven't started my perimenopause yet, but intuitively I know, and I need to look after my body, and I'm here for the long haul. I want to be on this earth as long as possible, so I'm going to look after myself, and I want to prepare my body the best I can once I hit that next phase of my cycle. Now, your movement here in your follicular phase, because you've got more energy, start doing a little bit more, maybe some high intensity interval training. Go for a run. If you're a yogi, maybe you do some ashtanga or something a little bit more sweaty. And this is the time to put big projects into your diary. So just looking at your life, and I know I'm dipping in here to cycle sync in your life. This is something we go through deeper on the toolkit, but looking at what you're doing when in relation to where you are at in your cycle. The next phase of our cycle is our summer. This is our ovulation phase. This is, I'll just move this out of the way. This is when our body thinks, right, this is time to become pregnant. Our energy is highest, we feel confident, our ovaries release an egg, our body is getting ready for that egg to be fertilized. You might feel that your libido is high here, and you'll know if you're ovulating because the discharge changes. It becomes a little bit more slippery. Our follicle stimulating hormone is high here. Our luteal LH hormone is also high, so that's getting us ready to release the egg, and our testosterone is also high here too. So the foods that we need to eat here, again, listening to your body, including some fruits, raw fruit, berries, cabbage, to cruciate vegetables. I've actually got sprouts to eat today. Sprouts, cabbage for healthy estrogen detoxification. I'll pop that on there for you as well. And also including kale. Kale bloats me, but if you can get some kale in there, spinach, those foods to really support your ovulation. Adding in here, if you're looking for snacks as well, maybe reaching for some nuts, a handful of nuts. So, when you're eating your fruit, having a handful of nuts there. So you've got a little bit of healthy fat. Sorry, my dog just growled because I think he thought one of the other dogs was coming along. And yeah, let's carry on. So final luteal phase. This is your autumn. For me, this is my most high symptom phase. So when I'm in my autumn, I get tired. So just after ovulation, I have a few days where I'm really tired because my hormones are starting to lower. The progesterone is starting to increase. So everything's getting ready, thinking, why is this egg not being fertilized? Your body's getting ready for that. And for me, it tires me out. And then what happens is they do start to decrease. So then you may feel it again, that, oh my God, I'm so tired. So your body's like, woo, yeah, are we getting pregnant? Are we doing this? And then when you don't, it's like, oh, okay, right, we're going to slow down. Everything starts, again, like autumn, everything starts to fall off the leaves, fall off the trees. Your energy starts to lower. So some really nice foods to support here. Sunflower seeds help progesterone production. Now, I put all of the seeds in my porridge every time I have porridge, which is 5 out of 7 days a week, so that I'm trying to support, again, my hormones. I'm thinking longevity. I'm thinking that, at some point, my symptoms for perimenopause might start, and I want my body to be physically ready. We should be able to ease through from our cycles into perimenopause, into menopause, when we reach that time, that it shouldn't be massive, horrible shock to our systems. If you're supporting and looking after your body while you're here, each phase of our life cycle is going to be easier. That is what my toolkit is all about. Supporting your health for longevity, not just a quick fix. So by thinking, you might be listening to this in your 20s, you might be listening to this in your 35, and like me, you might be thinking, well, I don't really, I'm not really thinking about perimenopause yet. Well, why not? Why not support? I think about myself as a 90-year-old woman, and I think I do not want to be bedbound. I want to be mobile. I want to be flexible. I want to be able to walk around and do all of those amazing things as an old lady. And yes, already I am thinking about that. I am supporting my body for the long haul. So by tuning in and learning about each phase of your cycle, you're going to be supporting your hormones, keeping them balanced. So when we do hit that next phase, then, we're ready for it. You might be listening to this and you're already in perimenopause. So start adding these things in if you've missed the support before. You might be listening to this and you're already in menopause and you're already feeling it. So what can you add in? So you may still be having periods here and there. You may feel that your progesterone levels are really dropping. So adding the seeds into your diet, really listening to your body on a day-to-day basis. As women, we're not made to live in this quick pace 9 to 5, 24-hour circadian rhythm. We have our own rhythm. It's an infradian cycle. It's 28 days. So by learning about your own 28-day cycle, by learning about your life cycle as a woman, from when we have our first bleed to our bleed in our teens, our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, they're all completely different. And I'm sure if you reflect on how you felt in your 20s, if you're older than that now, your bleed then to how you feel now, it is completely different. We change, we grow. So in your autumn, again, coming back to, or spelled sugar on there, to avoiding sugar and caffeine, maybe allowing a little bit of dairy into your diet here just to support you. What else? Sesame seeds. I try to put them on most evening meals. Again, once you get used to what your body needs, you'll find that you start to naturally, intuitively put all of these things through your food throughout the day. Start off small, adding it in here and there, and then you'll find that, right, okay, so each week I'm eating a good amount of red meat, I'm eating a good amount of healthy fat and protein, I'm eating a good amount of fruit and vegetables and leafy greens, and it's all in your diet because intuitively you've already tuned in, you're tuned into your body, you know what's good for you and when. However, if that day comes along, when that day comes along, and you're craving Krispy Kremes, I was the other night and I ordered some to the house, I allowed myself a Krispy Kreme. But do you know what? When it arrived, I had half of it and I was like, oh, I'm actually done now. And I said, my partner, he got 2.5 Krispy Kremes because I did give in to the craving, and then I got it and I didn't want it because I knew I was allowed it. I'm not restricting myself. If I see a piece of cake, I'm going to eat the cake because I know next day I'm not going to want it because I've had it the day before. And as soon as we start putting these restrictions on ourselves that we are not allowed something and something is bad, it's the wet paint theory. When you see wet paint, you want to touch it. So that's exactly the same how it works when we start restricting ourselves with these fad diets. These fad diets, these bikini diets, you see them all over social media. This is what you need to do to get fit in 8 weeks' time. And it's pulling, you can't live like that forever. Oops, sorry, I just kicked my camera. You can't live like that forever. You cannot bikini body diet forever. You need to find a way to live that's actually sustainable, that allows you to live your life, that allows you to have fun, have treats, but also nourish your body. And again, I keep mentioning it, but you're doing this for your old lady body. You're doing this for your lifelong body. You're doing this for longevity. Okay, let's get into the juicy bit. Okay, so I've just put a few things here. You can look at this when you get the workbook. I'm not going to go through all of this. I don't want to just, read the workbook to you. Why won't it let me flick? There we go. Oops, I've gone too far, sorry. Now, I know I just mentioned seed cycling very briefly. Again, once you feel happy and you're confident, and I know you're like, it's only seeds, but once you understand you're happy, you're confident with what seeds help you where, I just use them as much as I can. You're not going to do anything bad to your body by having pumpkin seeds all the way through your cycle instead of just days 1 to 14 for estrogen. Nothing bad is going to come of that. But just to begin with, it might be, if you don't like them, or it's brand new to you, or you can just, like me, I'll add everything other than sesame seeds to my porridge. Sesame seeds I put on my savory and my salads, when we have Asian food, they go perfectly with sesame seeds. I wouldn't put sesame seeds on my Sunday roast. So again, do what you like. But I put in my porridge in the morning, I have my pumpkin, I have my flaxseed, I have my sunflower, I then have fruit. I'll chop up an apple or banana. Banana's really good if you do lots of yoga for cramp. I also put a little bit of honey in there, or cinnamon. Cinnamon's really good for blood pressure. So I'm just starting the day knowing that, right, everything I've got in this bowl is really going to set me up for the day. It's going to support my hormones. Some days I wake up though and I'm like, oh God, I can't face porridge. So I'll have a piece of toast and I might put a banana and a bit of honey on it. So I'm intuitive. And some days I'll wake up and think, oh, I've got to go teach an early yoga class. So I'll just have the fruit. And again, this comes back to some kind of conditioning. When we're kids, we're told you've got to have this much for your breakfast and this much for your lunch. I think there's an old-fashioned saying, isn't there, that eat like a king in the morning, someone else afternoon and like a pulpit in the evening, so you don't go to bed with a full stomach. That does make sense. But if you do wake up and you don't have an appetite, why are you going to force food down you? I have to eat within an hour of waking up because it makes me feel sick. I know some people can fast, and that's okay. And as women, it's okay to fast and wait till you're really hungry. Have a sip of water. Are you hungry or are you thirsty? Let's go through. So, intuitive eating, I'm not going to read all of this to you. You can read this when I send out the workbook. It's just a little bit about intuitive eating, the background, where it comes from, that it's just all about having a healthy relationship with food. I don't think there's anything, yeah, there's nothing I'm not going to probably mention on that page or I already haven't mentioned. And just to highlight the bit in the middle here, intuitive eating does help with a decrease in junk food, a decreased tendency for overeating, because you're allowing yourself that time of, do I need this? What do I want? The amount of times that I think, oh my God, I could just kill a McDonald's, but I know that my body just needs maybe a little bit of salt, or it's just, so I'm like, right, do I need a McDonald's? Or if I go in the supermarket now, can I actually find something that's going to nourish my body? And I'm not restricting it. Sometimes I'll go to McDonald's, but then other days I'm like, I don't need a McDonald's. What I need is I'm going to get a bit of steak and get some leafy greens. And then I eat that and I feel good. Whereas when I eat McDonald's, I don't have food guilt, but I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel amazing after that. And again, intuitive eating is all about getting rid of food guilt, but it's the feeling that you have. So when I say, well, don't feel good after that, it means I might feel sluggish or I'm thirsty or I just feel a little bit, yeah, because it's greasy. Okay. Good. So one of the things to know when we're looking at intuitive eating is the difference between emotional hunger and physical hunger. They are different. So before you next have a snack, ask yourself this: am I eating because I'm hungry, or am I eating for another reason? So I just tune in. Am I actually hungry? Or am I just going to go to the cupboard now because I'm a little bit bored? Am I actually hungry? Or I had a bad day at work, I'm a bit pissed off, so I'm going to come home and eat loads of crap out of the cupboard. And really just then noticing what triggers you to reach for those bad things, or to reach for food in general. Because some of us you might eat, have your meal, and then because you're bored, you're going to eat again. And like, do you really need that? So if you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to keep your weight at a steady area, steady mark, thinking, okay, so I have just eaten. Am I really still hungry? Or now am I just bored because I'm sat watching the TV? So if you are trying to lose weight, that question is going to be really important for you. And it might be that you, instead of having food, you're not going to restrict yourself. But before I reach for some more food, I'm just going to have a glass of water, or I'm going to have a herbal tea to see if I'm still hungry. Or maybe I'll have a couple of carrots or a bit of cucumber. If I'm still hungry, then, eat something else, eat something more substantial. Is it because that you need something to do with your hands? So again, think back, think too, when you go to the cinema. Now, again, you're allowed to treat. If you want popcorn when you go to the cinema, have it. But the amount of times I'm in the queue, I'm like, I'm not actually hungry. I don't really want the popcorn. I'm just having it because when I sit down, I'm going to feel weird that I haven't got anything to put into my mouth. So last time I went to the cinema, I took something else with me, and afterwards I wasn't like, oh my God, my poor teeth from eating all of that sugar. But next time I go, I'll have it. It's only because we went to the cinema 2 weeks in a row and I was like, I don't need all of the sugar in my life. I'm really trying to work on how much sugar I consume, because again, longevity. I want to be here for a long time, and I don't want to have any illnesses that come from eating too much popcorn, processed sugar. So you can read again this. I'm not going to read it all to you. I have summarized it all here. So just learning a little bit here about our hunger cues. Now, knowing actually what hunger feels like. So if your tummy is actually rumbling and you're like, oh my God, I'm starving, you'll know that you're hungry. Sometimes we're not really hungry and we're thinking about, again, a donut, or we just start thinking about food. But if we tune in and like, right, have I got any hunger sensations? If you suddenly feel hungry because you've seen food, that's a thing. How many of you smell coffee and you're like, oh my God, and you want a coffee? Smell is very important. This is why when people sell houses, sometimes they'll put a freshly baked cake in the oven because it makes people think of comfort and safety, and it smells delicious. You're like, wow, it smells amazing. And then you start to picture yourself cooking cakes in that kitchen, and it's all subliminal messaging. Again, I've just spoken already about when we're watching TV or you're surrounded by other people eating, and you might go to a party and there's a buffet and you've already eaten, but you're going to have the buffet because everyone's eating, and you're just going to pile plate with vol-au-vents, and then you're like, oh, I didn't really want them, and then you feel sick because you've eaten too much, or you're cursing yourself because you're trying to control your weight or trying to look after your health. Okay, I'm just going to flick through these. You can read these. It's just what I've just summarized. I'm going to go through the 10 principles of intuitive eating. Again, I'm not going to read them all out to you. You can read. I'm going to just tell you about them, give you some real life links, and then you're able to play around with them yourself. One of the principles, these are not in any particular order, they're not numbered, is reject the diet mentality. So everything that I've just been saying is all rejecting the diet mentality. You are not on a diet. You are just eating food because you need to eat food, because it nourishes your body. It stops us from being hungry. It helps us to be strong. It gives us energy. So when we are eating, we don't have any red foods. We don't have any green foods. We're listening to our bodies. So you listen to what your body needs. And if you're thinking, oh God, well, if I do that, I'm going to be eating all of the time, you will learn not to, because you're thinking, right, does my body actually need this? You're not counting calories. Now, I saw something, I think I shared it on my story, that, we're told like, oh my God, count your calories, you're only allowed this amount of calories. And that is one of the biggest scams that we've ever been sold, because we buy into like, this has only got 90 calories, this is only 100 calories. But when you actually look at all the crap and the things that are in there, the extra sugars, the salts, the processed foods, and it's not helping us at all. Stop counting calories. Instead, count nutrition. Look at your plate and think, what is the nutrition I'm getting from this? Even if you do treat yourself to a cheeky McDonald's, there's nutrition, there's protein in the burger. And again, if you are trying to lose weight, then it might be that, you know what, yeah, I can have a McDonald's, but I'm not going to have the cheese on the burger. Or you might take the bread off. Again, not restricting. If you want it, have it, because you're not going to want it tomorrow. Maybe even considering, okay, so I'm going to have this, and again, when you're eating it, thinking about the nutrition that you're getting, the carbohydrates, the energy, the protein, and then later on in the day, you're not going to go and have another McDonald's. And the intuitive part of this comes in of, okay, so I had that this afternoon, so this evening I'm going to make sure I have some extra nourishment on my plate, put in a bit more extra spinach. Maybe you're not really that hungry after that, so you're just going to have something small to eat. It's all about just listening to your body and making sure you're giving your body what you need. Reject, it's not a diet. I'm going to keep saying it. It's a very much anti-diet. It's just listening to your body. I've been eating this way for a good few years now. And previous, I would really be harsh on myself if I did eat food that were bad, that was seen bad. There's no such thing as a good or bad food. All food is there. Okay, if you're eating highly processed food all of the time, this ultra processed food that's really addictive, and you ask yourself, what is the nourishment here? How is it helping me? Once you're intuitive and you're in tune to your body, you're going to be like, actually, look at the ingredients of that. It's not going to help me in any way. So instead of eating the microwave version of a shepherd's pie or whatever it is that you're eating, making your own, or finding a version that isn't full of process. Now, honor your hunger. So your body is a machine. When we need fuel, when it needs fuel, it will tell you. So if you're always hungry, then thinking about, how can you use food to give your body what it wants? Some days I feel like I'm starving. I'm like, oh my God, I've been so hungry all day today. And then I actually reflect on what I've eaten. Now, I'm not perfect. I do follow this way of eating. But then some days I'm like, oh my God, I'm really hungry. And then I think about what I've eaten. And then it's because I've been busy, or, I've had a little snack at lunchtime, and then time's gone by because I've been working. And then suddenly I'm starving and I'm like, I need food now. I'm going to order pizza. I'm going to order chips. I'm going to, and then I'll tend to overeat then, instead of just listening to my body all throughout the day of, am I hungry? Yes or no? Okay, I'm going to go and have a little snack, or I'm going to eat my lunch. And then, really honoring what your body is telling you. Next, make peace with food. And I kind of just touched on this, that there's no bad or wrong, bad food. There's only good food. Food is nourishment, unless it's this, and I know I keep saying this, ultra processed crap that scientists have produced to get us addicted to food. Those foods you'll know because a lot of the time it's a color that we can't buy food in. It's bright blues or bright reds, and it's full of sugar, and it can stay in a tin for a very long time, or it doesn't go off. It's plasticky. It's the stuff that by looking at it is not going to really give you any nourishment. So opt for another version. Again, not diet, not restrictive. Sometimes you need to buy something quick to eat, and that's okay. Sorry, I've lost my button. There we go. Now, the food police. So challenge the food police, challenge these dieting bodies. You don't need to be on a diet. You don't need to detox. Your body knows what it needs. Our bodies know how to detox. I see so many things out there that are, how can I say this, detrimental to our health, of liver cleanse, detox, 7-day juice detox. Your body knows how to do that itself. We detox when we bleed. We get rid of the things we don't need when we go to the toilet. Now, what our body cannot handle is the ultra processed foods that I've just mentioned, and the crap and the fructose and the stuff that's in them. We cannot detox naturally from those, which is why we don't really want to put those in our bodies anyway. We also need to challenge the food police, the reds, the greens, the bads, the wrongs, the cheat day, the cheat meal. No such thing. You're allowed to eat it. Who are you cheating on? There's no such thing as a cheat meal. Just eat the food. You're not cheating anyone. Who I would love to know who they mean. Like, I'm not talking to you guys here, but who are you cheating on? Because I don't see any. I don't know. I can't answer that question. Just take that thought out of your head. There's no cheat meals. It can be a treat. You can call it a little treat. If I'm having cake, well, oh, it's a nice little treat. I'm not cheating. I'm allowed to have it. Who's telling me I can't? Who's putting these rules down that I have to cheat? I can eat cake if I want cake. Full stop. So respecting your fullness. Again, this one is one which I know a lot of you will have been told as a kid, eat everything that's on your plate. I can remember my nan saying to me when I'd left some of my Sunday roast for starving children in Africa, and it was, I don't know if that's still said now, but, we all know it. I've done it to my niece and nephew. You cannot have pudding unless you eat all of your food. You cannot have dessert. You cannot have anything after. Now that I've learned about that, if they are full, they are full. So if they want to leave the food on their plate, okay, it's fine, but you're still not having sweets because you're full, okay? And again, doing the same to yourself. So I pause and I'm like, right, am I really hungry? Am I still hungry? Have a little sip of water, give myself a couple of minutes. And then if I am just like, I'm keeping going because I feel like I need to finish. Now I've learned I'm very good at, pushing the plate away, and I'm done. Save it for tomorrow if there's a lot. Save it for later. You might get a little bit hungry later. It might be that you've just eaten quickly and you're full right now and you can go back to it later. That's okay. If you've got a husband, give it to your husband. I give a lot of mine to my partner. I'm like, right, I'm done. You know, and sometimes I look, oh my God, I feel like I haven't ate much. But then the next day I'll finish off my plate because every single day is different, depends on where you are in your cycle. Discover the satisfaction. Now, this is a good one for you if you have done all of these fad diets where instead of feeling nourished after food, you feel guilty. You feel like, oh my God, I shouldn't have eaten that. We want to get rid of that feeling. So allowing yourself to feel satisfied when you eat, that you take a breath, think, am I full? Am I satisfied? Do I feel good? How's this food making me feel? And you should finish your meal feeling like, oh my God, I feel really good after that. I'm full of energy. I really enjoyed it. It was really yummy and I've got no guilt and I'm satisfied. So it's not going to the place where you're like, oh my God, I'm so full, I'm going to burst. You're satisfied. You can put the food, you're done. There's nothing else needed. Now, next one, honor your feelings with or without food. So, sorry, not with or without. Honor feelings without food. Now, if you know that you're going back to what I said before about emotional eating, emotional hunger, physical hunger. If you know that you emotionally eat, this is a big thing. We eat when we're stressed. We eat when we're bored. We eat when we're fed up. We just eat when we've got nothing else to do. Now, really tuning in to allowing yourself to have those feelings without reaching for food. Do something else instead. If you're bored, go for a walk. If you're bored, make yourself a hot drink. If you're fed up, again, walking is always my go-to. Do some yoga. So if you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to pig out, go and have a shower, have a bath, put a face mask on. Do something to stop you emotionally eating. One thing that I do when I feel like I'm only eating because I'm bored, I go and brush my teeth because I feel like I've just brushed my teeth. So I don't want to, I wouldn't do that early in the morning and think, oh my God, I'm going to brush my teeth so I don't eat all day. I'll do it when we're sat watching a movie and I'm like, oh, I feel like I want some snacks. And I'm like, well, no, I've just eaten, I'm full, I'm not really hungry. I'm just bored. I'm just going to go brush my teeth and I'll put a face mask on and it actually takes it out of my mind. And there'll be so many times that once you learn how to do this, if you're like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. And think of all the times you've done it that you think, oh my God, I'm hungry. And then you do something else and then suddenly you're not hungry. You've forgotten because it was an emotional hunger. Next, respect your body. Now, every single person's journey with food is completely different. There isn't one way to eat intuitively. So it's about building your own healthy relationship with food. So I'm giving you lots of examples here, but that's my healthy relationship with food. So coming from my past when I used to overthink that I needed to eat healthily, and I would say that I probably had a little bit of orthorexia, that I was obsessed with healthy food, and I would definitely have food guilt, or I wouldn't have if I had certain food, I would go, the next day I was like, right, I'm going to do an extra 20 minutes at the gym to work that off. And I wouldn't necessarily, so orthorexia is type of eating disorder, but I wouldn't say I had it to a point where, I was debilitated, but I did overthink a lot. And I think that also went hand in hand with my anxiety and my hormones being out of balance, that I didn't have a healthy relationship with food or my body. So what I was putting in my body, I didn't really think about. And, I was just eating crap because that's how I felt. I felt crap, so I was eating crap. And I've had to really teach myself that I am worthy of good, nutritious food. I don't need to have, this is not a lie, I had 3 McDonald's in one day. But I don't need, my body needs better than that. I love my body and I want to make sure that my cholesterol levels are low, and I'm not giving myself too much salt and too much sugar, not because I'm on a diet, because I love my body and I want it to carry me through as long as possible. Next, enjoy exercise. Now, in the toolkit, I have a section where we look at exercise. Exercise should be enjoyable. Exercise, I'm just going to exclamation point this bit, is not a punishment. Like I've just said, when I used to eat things, I would punish myself by doing an extra 20 minutes in the gym. Don't punish yourself. Exercise should be enjoyed. Exercise goes hand in hand with your nourishment. So forget forcing yourself to do exercise that you don't enjoy. Maybe go for, I know I keep saying, go for a walk, or maybe you enjoy running, change, change it up a bit, mix it up a bit, embrace everything that exercise can give you. And we live in a day and age where we've got exercise at our fingertips. Go onto YouTube, try something brand new, do Pilates if you've never done Pilates. There's actually ballet on YouTube. You just use your chair as a bar and you can do ballet at home. It's really hard, but have fun with it instead of seeing it as a chore. Also, see the benefits that you can get from exercise. Do you have children? Do you want to be able to play with your children, your grandchildren, as they grow? You don't want to get tired out. Do you want to be able to move your body? Like I said at the start, at 90 years old, I want to be doing yoga. I want to be the 90-year-old yoga lady that people see on Instagram or whatever it will be in those days, because she can still do the splits, and because I'm looking after my body and I'm enjoying exercise and what it does for me. That kind of goes hand in hand with the next one, honor your health. Now, by being mindful of what you eat, what goes in comes out. So like I've just said, when my anxiety was at its all-time low and I was eating crap, then my body was crap. My energy levels were crap. My hormones were crap. I had headaches. I had bad skin. I had heavy bleeds, all of the things that went with it. So now I honor my health. I'm currently now, as far as I know, very healthy, maybe the healthiest I've been in a while, because now I honor my health and I think about, okay, what am I putting in my body? And then again, not from a diet point of view, but I wouldn't eat 3 McDonald's in one day. I wouldn't eat 3 McDonald's in a week. I might have one McDonald's in a week. And then the next week, if I'm thinking, oh, I know I use McDonald's, but that's kind of the food that I go to when I am emotionally eating or bored, or I'll see it, I'm like, oh, I'll have McDonald's, But then I wouldn't restrict myself. But because I honor my body, I honor my health, I think, right, is that going to support my health if I eat all of that, or shall I opt for something else? And just last week, I walked past McDonald's. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a cheeseburger. But then I did all of the things that I'm telling you now. So do I really need that? And I'm probably just craving a bit of meat because I'm on my period. So I went to the supermarket, got a steak, and had a steak when I got home. And I felt good for that after. And I know that after I'd eaten the McDonald's, I would have enjoyed it. Yes, of course I would. But then after, I would have been like, oh gosh, I didn't honor my health there. And again, you can read a little bit more about that. So let's go on to the benefits of intuitive eating. Of course, I've just mentioned it's going to improve your health. It's going to give you a chance to live your life physically, mentally, emotionally, through food, enjoying food, and feeling the benefits of having a healthy relationship with food. You're going to have more energy. You're going to visit the doctor less. You're going to have less headaches, or whatever it is. Your hormones are going to sort itself out because you're going to use the information from your cycle and using your intuition to eat, that you're going to bring your hormones in balance. So of course your health is going to improve. It's going to give you better relationships with food. For all of the things that I've just said, food is good. It teaches us to listen to our bodies and eat the foods that we know are good for us. And especially if we have certain diseases that run in the family, heart disease, diabetes, you're going to want to have a good relationship with food. You're going to want to use food to support your health, to stop you repeating those cycles of health in your family. It's going to give you a lot more self-acceptance. It's going to stop you from overeating. It's going to stop you from any disordered eating. It certainly did me, because I looked at what I was eating in my health as a whole thing, instead of having my health, my hormones, what I eat, what goes into my body, my mental health. Now I see it all together. It all fits together. Everything I eat, everything I think, everything I say, the way that I move my body. It's all one big package. And then it allowed me to accept myself as I am, because I know more about myself and I have less body image issues. Of course, all women, I think every single woman at some point has had a body image issue. Now, I tend to not. I can't explain it in any other way. That I love my body. I love what it does. I actually said to my partner yesterday, and he was like, what the hell? I love that on this planet, on this earth, we literally have everything that we need to keep us healthy. We have water, we have food, we have plants, we have vegetables, we have animals, all of the things we need to consume to keep us healthy. We can use plants as medicine. And just by learning that and really appreciating that, it straight away makes you feel like, I don't want anything else coming in. Anything that's not needed, anything that's not good for me, keep it away. Okay, what time? 3 more minutes. I did say I was going to try finish early. So last one of the biggest benefits you will receive from intuitive eating is peace of mind. No more counting calories, no more watching what you eat, just allowing yourself to enjoy food, to find peace with food. And you're going to see a lot of long-term benefits. Now, most people ask me with this, the calories, and it's not calorie counting, it's not dieting. I know I keep saying that. It's you knowing that you could eat without feeling guilty. It's you knowing what is good for your body and listening to your body and really asking yourself those questions. A really good analogy that I always like to use is if you have dogs or children, but I feel like we treat dogs differently. So if you have pets and your vet tells you to, your vet says to you, what food are you feeding the dog? And you've got, oh, I just use the supermarket own brand dry food. And the vet then explains that, oh, that's not actually very good for the dog. It's not going to give them much energy, X, Y, Z. Maybe try this brand and include a little bit of meat in their diet, raw meat in their diet. You're going to go home and go, right, okay, I'm going to look after this little dog that I've got here. I love this little dog. I'm looking at one of my dogs down there as I'm talking. And you do that because your dog can't do that for themselves. It's time for you to start doing that for you and looking at what's good for you and really paying attention to what's good for you. And then, of course, I've mentioned lots of anxiety here, less stress. We're going to feel less stressful because we're not thinking about food all of the time. We're not thinking about how we look all of the time. We're not overthinking calories, and we're allowing ourselves to enjoy food, to enjoy going out and eating food and eating with other people. So I'm just you can read that little bit there, but I think it really sums it up. So there are a few challenges, of course, when you start intuitively eating, because you have to reteach yourself a lot of things that we've been conditioned, especially with the emotional eating, especially with eating when you're bored or certain times, or finishing that food on your plate. So retraining yourself to slow down, to enjoy your food, turn off the TV when you're eating so you can pay attention to what you're eating. I'm just going to let you read through the challenges here so I don't go too much over. I popped another couple of podcasts in here for you. Hopefully they'll pop up when you get this. I'll just skip through. They will work. They are there. They're just not showing up for some reason. And then what next? Wait, we're not there. Excuse me. Where's the arrow? There we go. So what next? Now, I have a new toolkit mentoring, 6-month mentoring program coming out on the 11th. This is an ongoing program, so it launches on the 11th and you can join at any time. There's unlimited spaces for the main group program. If you would like to chat to me, so if this workshop has tickled your fancy and you feel like you're ready to make changes, you're ready to step into your lifelong body, your old lady body, getting your old lady body healthy, you're ready to be supported, you're ready to not just have a fad diet, fad mindset practices, quick fixes that you do for 3 weeks, This toolkit is really going to help you to embed these. I've been living this way for 4 to 5 years now, and it just, it just becomes habit. And what I've done with this toolkit is just put all the things that I've gathered along the way that have worked, or some that have not worked for me. So you have your own choice to see what works for you, to change the way that you live each day. Big changes don't happen with little fixes. So through the toolkit, there are 6 modules. We work through each module. It's 6 months. It's half a year. After that 6 months, you will not need me. You will not message me unless you're telling me that, oh my God, I feel amazing. So have a little read of this, and please reach out to me if you would like to chat. I am here for it. I want to support you. There's mindset practices in the toolkit. There's yoga, there's breath work, there's meditation, so that you really start to bring these into your daily life. So again, it's supporting our hormones. It's supporting the way that we eat. It's supporting the way that we move. It's supporting our relationships with other people. This is a whole lifestyle change. It's what your doctors won't give to you. And again, yeah, let's chat about it. I think I just went a little bit over, but thank you so much for watching. I will put all of my details in the caption. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and you will all receive this workbook so you can take a look through at your own pace. Thank you so much, and I will see you all very soon.